People from big cities thinking about moving to the LV, are you wondering what's going to be different once you get here? Well, stick around and let's get real about the Lehigh Valley. Hello friends, my name is Tara Roy and I'm a realtor in Easton, Pennsylvania. As you can probably tell from the tropical background behind me, I'm not in Pennsylvania today. I am chilling out in South Florida, which, New Yorkers, you know that South Florida is one of our favorite places to visit. The cool thing about South Florida from the Lehigh Valley, it's still just as simple to get to as it is from New York City. So Newark is just about an hour's drive from where I live in Easton. So hop in a car, drive to the airport, and within 3 hours, you are in sunny South Florida like I am today. So while I'm here chilling, having a cold brew coffee, I thought I would come on to my YouTube channel and just tell all my big city folk who are thinking about moving to the Lehigh Valley area what to expect as far as differences go from big city to smaller city. There's definitely going to be a little bit of a culture shock, but you get used to it, and if you like a quieter lifestyle, you will fall in love. So it definitely took my husband and I a little bit of time to get used to how quiet it was in our city of Easton. So we live up on a hill and it's a pretty quiet neighborhood. And when we first moved here from Brooklyn, we legit could not fall asleep at night because it was so quiet. When we lived in Brooklyn, we lived on 6th and 6th and Park Slope, and we had a manhole cover in front of our house, like right in front of our stoop on the street. And every time a car would go by, it was boom, 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 boom. And our bedroom was in the front of the house, so we heard the boom, boom all the time. And it just becomes part of the background noise of a big city, just like people walking on the street and maybe talking or yelling or shouting to a friend across the way, or neighbors getting into their cars, opening and closing doors. Also ambulances and fire trucks and sirens of police cars. Those are things that we didn't hear when we moved to the city. So it was super quiet, and every little creak and moan of the house we could hear because there was nothing else going on. So it will likely, if you're moving to Easton or to Bethlehem or to Allentown and you're not in the city proper, chances are it's going to be a lot more quiet. So be prepared for that as the first thing that's going to be different. All right, another thing that was so different for us when we moved from the big city to Easton was restaurants do not stay open late here. So they stay open to 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock. But when you live in a city and sometimes you're getting home from work, if you're going into an office, and I know there's a lot of remote work happening now, so it's not maybe quite as prevalent, but we used to eat really late because I would get home from my advertising job at like 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, and by 10:30 I was having delivery to the door for dinner, and that was just the lifestyle. And if that's your lifestyle in New York City, you're used to being able to just order in from any place at any time of the night until 2 in the morning. That doesn't happen here in Easton at all. In the Lehigh Valley, you're not going to find that. So be prepared to go shopping and get lots of groceries in and maybe some prepared foods so that when you are having those late night munchies, you can just go in your own kitchen and grab them, because chances are you're not going to find delivery late night here in the Lehigh Valley. On the good side, when you do go out to dinner and if you're going out for drinks, your bill's going to be a lot less in the Lehigh Valley than it is in the city. Your bill's going to be reduced by at least a few dollars from New York City to the Lehigh Valley. And we have pretty amazing restaurants. Over the last decade, even maybe a little bit longer, we've had a lot of people moving into the Lehigh Valley from bigger cities, and culinary people are coming, opening restaurants and bars and really yummy, fun places to go eat and have a good time. Okay, so this one is kind of funny. My husband laughed at me a lot, but there's no bars on the windows here in the Lehigh Valley. I mean, there might be in some of the more urban settings, but if you're in a neighborhood, you're not gonna have bars on your windows. And my husband just thought that was so funny that was a concern of mine. But in my whole adult life before I moved to the Lehigh Valley, Every place I lived had bars on the windows because I lived in Los Angeles, I lived in Santa Monica, and then I moved to New York City, and everything had bars. Not the same as living in Manhattan or New York City or Los Angeles proper. So it was fine, but that was kind of a culture shock for me because it just felt really weird that there were ground floor windows with no bars. Another one, if you're coming from Manhattan or Brooklyn or Queens or anywhere in the 5-borough area and you're used to shopping in your neighborhood grocery store, the stores here are huge. The grocery stores are gigantic. So you're going to be shopping for days when it's going to take you some time to figure out where things are in these enormous grocery stores, because the little corner grocery store or bodegas, it's so easy to find things that are pretty small. When you get here and you go to a Giant or a Weiss or any of the other bigger grocery stores, you're going to have to take a minute to learn the lay of the land. If you're used to riding public transportation, taking the subway, taking city buses across town, things like that, public transportation is not quite as accessible here in the Lehigh Valley. We definitely do have a bus system, and you definitely can get from point A to point B, but it takes a lot more time and a lot more planning. They are on a regular schedule, but they're not running quite as frequently. In the big city, you have buses coming every few minutes. You have subway coming every few minutes. And sometimes they're coming one after the other because they get backed up. So there's always, that public transportation available to you. Not so much in the Lehigh Valley. You're really better off if you have a car. People don't walk quite as much in the Lehigh Valley as they might in the cities because we have to get in our cars to go places. So in your neighborhood, you might see strollers or walkers or, people jogging around the neighborhood. But as a regular mode of transportation, unless you are in downtown Allentown, downtown Bethlehem, downtown Easton, and you work and live in that same little area, chances are you're not going to use your legs to walk yourself to work. Our insurance is a lot less in Pennsylvania than it is in New York City. So that is something exciting when you get to the valley, is you're going to save money on your car insurance. Since I'm in Florida and we were talking about traveling before, not only is it super easy to get to Newark Airport to get on a quick weekend getaway, it's also really easy to get to Philly Airport. So both are about equidistant from the center of the valley by about an hour and 15 minutes for either one if you're kind of right dead smack in the middle of the Lehigh Valley. I happen to be closer to Newark because I live in Easton, and I just find that airport to be more convenient for me because I've always just flown out of there. When I didn't go out of JFK or LaGuardia, I would go to Newark, so I'm just very familiar with it. Super easy to hop on over and take a flight to somewhere like sunny Florida. I got here for like $65. So it's really still easy to get away in the middle of winter from the Lehigh Valley. Also have our own airport. It's international, and I believe it's international because we fly to Canada. So Lehigh Valley International Airport is also an option to go to places like Florida. Sometimes they have direct flights. I don't think they're always exactly when you want them in the middle of the week. So you might have to be flexible with your travel times, but they have connecting flights to all over the country. So if you don't even feel like going to Newark or to Philadelphia, you can fly straight out of the LV. All right, well, that about wraps up my video for today. Just wanted to give you a few differences that you can expect when moving to the Lehigh Valley from a big city. Thanks for watching. If you have questions about moving to the Lehigh Valley, I'm happy to help you. I did it myself 12 years ago and have lots of good advice to share. So give me a call, shoot me a text, send me an email, and I would be happy to share any info about moving to Allentown, Easton, or Bethlehem, anywhere in the surrounding Lehigh Valley area. Have a great day, and I'll see you soon.